Lieutenant Tsurumi, have you ever heard of a food called kanamochi? It's an emergency ration we Animatiki use. One's shaped like a ball and one's an oval. We take them into the mountains with us. Supposedly the round one is the sun and the oval is the moon.
Kanamochi, huh? No, I can't say I've heard of it. How's it taste? Like any other mochi?
We add water to rice powder, then mix in miso or salt. Knead thoroughly, wrap it up in a leaf, then bake it in a covered pan. Tozawa Matsuki, however, are forbidden from adding miso to their kanamochi.
So, each village has its own particular rules, then?
My father was incredibly stern, so I never told anybody about this. But I didn't actually follow the rules. I did something special to my kanamochi. Then one day, another Matsuki discovered my secret.
How'd he do that?
That's kind of a story. We were hunting a wild goat that we call an aoshish. Matsuki travel in small groups, and each member has a specific role to play in the hunt. There's a scout, a mukaimate, who gives orders to the group. Then 2 riflemen called matsumai. And 2 sekko. Their job is to be loud and drive the prey into the riflemen's sights. The bears the Matsuki call itazu have a tendency to run uphill into the mountains, so the sekko drive them toward the peak. The aoshish are the opposite, so we drive them away from the peaks. I was a sekko, out with a boy a year older than me named Kenkichi Aoyama. When we got up to the peak, the weather suddenly changed. We sought refuge in a cave, but the blizzard kept raging. We were trapped there for days. The beans and rice we brought weren't enough. They ran out fast. Kanamochi was created to keep you alive in situations like that. No matter how cold it gets, it doesn't freeze, and it never spoils, and nibbling on just a little of it is enough to fill you up. Here.
What's wrong?
I was just thinking that if this blizzard doesn't stop, this could be our last meal.
Huh! Speak for yourself. I'm surviving this even if it means I have to eat you. Hey, what's that taste? Did you mix something in? The flavor's familiar. Wait, don't tell me. I'll guess it. Let's see. I know. It's walnuts. You put walnuts in, didn't you?
Yeah. But do me a favor. Don't tell my father, okay?
Hey, Genjiro?
Huh?
We're going to get out of this alive.
Not too long after that, Kenkichi married my younger sister Fumi. So then we were like real brothers. Fumi and Kenkichi lived quietly and happily just a little ways up the mountain on their own, away from the village. On that day, I'd been making kanamochi at home as usual. My brother came in from outside, with a look on his face I'd never seen before. It's Fumi! When I saw the sheer panic in his eyes, it felt like I'd been stabbed through the chest. By the time I arrived, the little hut where the 2 of them lived was already... I found her body inside. It was burnt to a crisp. But why? What happened here? What the hell happened here? Fumi! That's when I saw the stab wound in her heart. And next to her, Kenkichi's Masuke. The short blade we call a Masuke is the soul of a Matsuki. But Kenkichi wasn't there. He was nowhere to be found. Where the hell is he?
I swear, our son hasn't been here. Please don't hurt us.
You're not hiding him, are you? I searched for him everywhere, but I never found him. And then one day, I finally heard a rumor that he joined the 7th in Hokkaido, and I was ready.
Give it up, Genjiro. Don't abandon Ani simply for revenge. Do you really want to waste your life like that?
I refuse to let my sister's murderer live! Forget being a Masagi then! I won't be back! In Tondane villages in Hokkaido at that point. Between my training and farm work, it was easy to move around and search for Kenkichi. But I had no luck. Then, just before we left for war, my brother sent me a message saying my mother was dead. Fumi's brutal death. Me abandoning my home to go to war. These things were too much for her frail heart. She became sick and died. My hatred grew as I told myself Kenkichi was responsible for everything. If I went to Port Arthur, where the Hokkaido soldiers were gathered, I could find him. Once I had, I'd wait for my chance in battle. And shoot him from behind. I saw a haggard-looking man sitting in the corner of one of the trenches. His face was so covered in blood. Whether it was his or an enemy's was hard to tell. A white sash. This man must be a survivor of last night's suicide charge.
Hey man, any chance you got food?
Yeah. Eat.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. This firm texture. Could it be mochi? And I taste miso. So what is this, some kind of Akita dish?
How did you know that?
Not hard to deduce. Dead giveaway? The use of these spices. It's definitely an Akita thing. There was a private in the 1st Division where I'm from who came from a place called Ani in Akita. He talked about it all the time. He told me that he had been a hunter back home before he came to Tokyo.
It was Kenkichi. I'd finally found my sister's killer. That's what had happened. He'd gone to Tokyo rather than Hokkaido.
The soldiers at 203 Hill were from everywhere. Many hailed from the Hokkaido 7th, as well as the Shikoku 11th. Also the Kanazawa 9th. And yes, there were many from the Tokyo 1st.
Yes. And the way I saw it, the gods had finally helped me discover my little sister's killer. That's how it felt. I wanted to go and find him immediately. But I knew that if I saw him, I'd most likely lose control. I could satisfy my need for revenge in the heat of a battle where I wouldn't be caught. But you were there. That hill was a nightmare. No time to look for anybody when it's all you can do just to survive. The Russians threw grenades at us, and we threw them right back. As we began to push them back further and further, they got desperate and changed tactics, strapped grenades to their bodies and jumped in our trenches.
It was hell, I remember. Blood and body parts everywhere. Just one of them could take out 10 of us.
And then another came. Bring that man down! 2 hits from a Type 30 right to the chest. Didn't even slow him down. Suddenly, a lone man emerged, running out of one of the trenches. Kenkichi! It was bad. Kenkichi just barely survived. At last. Or so I thought. Kenkichi! I finally found you! I'm gonna stab you straight through your heart! Just like you did to Fumi!
Tadagaki! Come on, he's done for! He can't even hear you! His eardrums are probably destroyed!
Fumi.
The battle seemed to reach some kind of stalemate. And the whole place became strangely quiet. Why? Tell me! Why did you kill Fumi?
Who are you? What's that voice? I don't know who you are, but can you take a message? Can you do that for me? A man named Tanigaki and Ani. My brother married the Tanigaki family's daughter, Fumi. She was so beautiful, such a warm heart, far too good for me. Then one day, she became sick with smallpox.
My parents, don't tell them. I'm begging you.
Fumi.
If you do, they'll just worry, and then they'll try to come here if it spreads to them.
I know.
And you can't stay here either.
What are you trying to say? We'll tie together, I swear. When a member of a mountain family catches smallpox, we abandon that loved one so it won't spread. But I couldn't do it. I heard an awful story about animals finding their way into an abandoned home and killing the sick who were left inside. I knew there was no way I'd let her die alone in that house, but she refused to let me stay with her. If it was known that Tanigaki had gotten smallpox, the rest of the village would shun them. The other Mochigi would refuse to hunt with the rest of her family. She wanted me to kill her, then leave without telling anyone in the village. So... And then she said, if it doesn't spread to you, then you must decide
how to spend the rest of your life. Find your role, love.
I'll try. At last, I finally did it. We decided on a way for her to suffer as little as possible. I am a hunter, so I used the method I knew best. I did what she said. Burned down our home and left the village without telling her family about her death. Ever since, I've spent the rest of my life bearing guilt. My actions have caused great pain to her family and to the village. If I can heal those wounds in any way, please, sir, please, tell this story to Tanigaki and Ani. Please. Kanimochi with walnuts. Kenjiro.
And then, he passed from this life before my eyes. He had found his role in life, and spent the rest of his days carrying it out. Every day since, I ask myself the same question. What is my role in life? I can't go back to Ani now. I couldn't bear to face my father or brother.
Tanigaki, perhaps I can help you answer your question. Hey, I know what you can do for a start. How about some of those kanimochi with walnuts?
At your service, sir.
Hey, look at that! Somebody's dancing all the way out there. Doesn't it look like a Sherpa?
Nice. This is a dance from Kushiro, right?
The Sararum Rimse, the crane dance. Funtori, funchi kappa, hoi ho.
Look, someone's coming.
You see? I knew it! It's a Sherpa!
Chikapashi, and Shirona, and Tanigaki.